Hello and welcome to the Best Thing From podcast. I'm Kev.
And I'm Steve.
And that time it was about 8 takes. That was ridiculous how hard that was to get that show started. And I blame you personally.
Well, one of those times was me. The other times you said the wrong podcast name. You just shouted for F's sake and all sorts of things randomly that weren't the introduction to this show.
I can't be expected to know the name of every podcast that I'm on. I just phone it in most of the time.
Yeah,
I don't know the names. Which one's this one?
We were thinking about just getting one of the old intros from one of the old shows and just using that at the start, weren't we?
We should do that, because then it'd save me seconds of time every week.
Definitely.
Which is what I'm all about.
I mean, playing the jingle on a bloody guitar every week does my head in. Getting all the instruments out every episode and just playing through it. I'm sick of it. If I ever have to play that tune again, it'll be too soon.
It's not as hard on this show as it is on Mature Gamer, because that one, we have to get the synthesizers out and everything. We have to get the whole band in to do that. And the band are only in it for like the last 10 seconds of the jingle as well. It's ridiculous how much effort we put into getting that band in every week, but what can you do? There's no way around it.
No, that's it. If there was any kind of way to get around it, we wouldn't spend the money.
On the last episode, we made a bit of a mistake, and I'd like to apologise to you for that now.
Go ahead.
We opened the beer 50 minutes in. I was so dry, and I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm opening the beer now.
Do it.
So that we can drink throughout the episode. We have got Old Crafty Hen, which is a moorland vintage ale. I
saw this when I was looking through my beers that I was going to contribute to the day. And is this a Tesco's knockoff of Old Speckled Hen? Is it like they're crafty? Hey, I've got some Old Speckled Hen for you. And it was just knocking about.
I'm so bad at pouring beer. Look at the state of that.
I'm glad I'm pouring my own half here. But is this some sort of knockoff? Or is it says vintage? It's a strong percent.
It's a real bit. It's 6.5%, isn't it? So it must be good. But it's, from what I can tell, it's basically strong Old Speckled Hen. If you hand me back the bottle, I can read from it. You make sure you
out of it at the moment.
you make sure you get every drop of that foam out the bottom of that bottle.
You left mostly head in.
Do you want to stick your tongue in there or something? Make sure it's all out. This is crafted by the master brewer of Old Speckled Hen, so it's not Tesco's own.
Brewery, yeah, it's not just the one who comes in every week and phones it in for the Old Speckled Hen. It's the master one, the one they sent to uni.
This strong, fine ale combines a distinctive malty taste with a satisfying, smooth raisin finish. What the fuck? I need to get this in my mouth. Hold on. It doesn't smell of raisins. Any raisin there? I do not taste any raisins. Does that actually say raisin? A raisin finish.
Let me have a quick look.
Hold on. It's brewed with a blend of the famous Old 5X. Don't know what that is. Which is aged. 4X, isn't it? It's aged. Is it? Yeah. So it's one better than Castlemaine 4X. Is that what it is? That's all Old Speckled Hen is.
Twice as good as porn, or almost twice as good as porn. Sorry, that's bad maths there.
Which is aged using our vintage oak vat maturing method. This delicious dark amber ale is perfect for indulging yourself and your friends.
This oak maturing method thing, right? Does every booze mature in oak?
Because I don't think Foster's does.
Well, because I was chatting to a driving instructor the other day. I've mentioned in the past to you, not to the listener, that we have quite a lot of in-depth discussions when I'm driving around almost crashing. And he mentioned that someone had got him a bottle of, I don't know, 40-year-old whiskey. And I said, I don't get it. I don't get what the different, what tastes different about it. I mean, is it? I said, did it taste less like paint stripper? Does it taste less like it's going to kill me, as cheap whiskey does? And he said, no, it's just still as alcoholic-y. It's just that they've left it in oak for longer, so it sucks up more of the oaky taste. And that's why alcohol, apparently all alcohol, he reckons, which I don't think is true, all alcohol in the world starts off as just plain alcohol that's got from corn, and then they add the flavours in.
I don't think that's true.
So they just get the alcohol, and then they stick all the stuff in.
Hold on, where's the ingredients on here? Let's see if it mentions corn anywhere. No, there's no corn in here. There's also no pregnant ladies in it. They make a point of that on the side of the bottle as well. No pregnant ladies in it. It contains malted barley. Could be no fat chicks, couldn't it? It contains malted barley. 3.3 UK units. You have to know your limits, according to the UK Chief Medical Officer. Yeah. He, believe it or not, recommends that adults don't regularly exceed 3 to 4 units a day for men.
Oh yeah, a day. I mean,
I don't think you can average it.
No, stuck them up at the end of the week,
no, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to not ever go past 4 units. And bear in mind, this one beer is 3.3 units, so you can have this and a sniff of something else, basically. And that's your lot for the day, Drinkerson.
Well, But yeah, apparently they leave it in an oak barrel for a long time, and the longer you leave it, the more oaky it tastes, and that's what makes it better. Apparently, we like the taste of oak.
Who doesn't? And I got some raisins that time.
Bottom of your
Interesting.
sip. Yeah.
Well, it could be from the big bowl of raisins I'm eating as well. Who knows? But I did notice when I was looking at my Jack Daniel's box set that I got for Christmas. I don't know if box set is the right word when you talk about whiskey. But on there it makes a big deal of oak, and I think it's oak. It goes in oak that's previously been in something, had something else in it as well. I wish I had the bottle near me.
Well, this is what he was telling me, that like you'll have an oak aged whiskey that's been in there for 80 years, and then they get it out and it's got the maximum oakiness. He says then they get those barrels, stick something else in them, because the fact that they've been drained and reused, it's a completely different flavour to the original lot. And you can keep doing that as many times as you like, and it'll be...
I'm pretty sure, and I could be making this up, but I'm sure Jack Daniel said something about it used to have barbecue sauce in the bottles, but I could be in the casks. I could be making that up.
I don't think Jack Daniel's got barrels of barbecue sauce, emptied them, put them all on his barbecue, and then started.
Do you reckon barbecue sauce comes in barrels in the first place? Or if you go to the Jack Daniel's brewery, which, if you're listening, Jack, we're not against coming to see your brewery if you want to invite us over on an all-expenses-paid trip. But I just imagine they have barbecue sauce bottles, they squirt all the barbecue sauce out, then they just fill it up with Tesco value whiskey, and then a few weeks later it tastes a bit nicer. And then you can put it on ribs and it makes your piss smell funny.
Well, I was always wondering, this oak thing, why don't they just grind up oak and make oak powder and mix it in with whiskey? Surely that's cheaper. Cut out the middleman. Don't leave it for 80 years, just smush the oak into the drink.
Then you're killing the golden goose, aren't you? You'll run out of trees eventually. Do you not pay attention to the news? We're running out of trees, man.
Well, can you not just plant more?
Not enough for us to start eating them, no.
Wait the 80 years for it to grow, and then I suppose you might save a bit of time if you grow them over 40 years.
It is a long process to make money out of it. If we now decided to start a whiskey brewery, knowing that we can't start selling our whiskey for 80 years... we're going to be dead before that whiskey's done.
Bizarre, isn't it?
It's going to be great for our grandchildren. Oh, that whiskey's matured. We'll sell that now.
Do you think like he'll make it, and then how long does it take to make a bog standard cheap ass £10 one?
25 minutes.
25 minutes. So, yeah, 25 minutes. You were drinking that then, which I know it ain't 25 minutes. It's probably like a couple of weeks or something, isn't it? But
I'm not a whiskey authority, believe it or not.
I don't believe it. But yeah, you could probably make some this year, and then every year on your birthday, just have a little bit. And then if you live to be 120, would I say?
How old do you think I am?
40?
You're a... Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, if I lived to be 107, I'd get to taste 8-year-old whiskey.
How old are you? No, you... What? Jesus. How young are you?
Yeah, 27.
Bloody hell. Where's your hair gone?
Yeah, that's it. But no, I think if I started brewing it now, I could race it to be dead first. I don't think that was a sentence, was it?
I don't think that was the idea of what we were doing either.
So what's this episode about this week then?
This episode is going to be about books.
Interesting.
Not whiskey or beer.
You wouldn't have guessed, would you? We're, 8 minutes, 17 seconds in?
It probably won't be that by the time I've edited out all that whiskey and beer talk.
And the jingles.
And just, we just got to get it down to a clean 12 minutes talking about books. Which does bring me to the question, what is your favourite book, little fella?
It's difficult.
Because you've not read any.
I've read
He's trying to remember, what did we do at primary school? Which was my favourite picture book?
Favourite books growing up were things like The Hobbit, Magic Faraway Tree.
What the hell's this? What are these things you're talking about?
Have you never read The Magic Faraway Tree?
No, I've never heard of it. Explain it to me.
I can't describe it without it sounding really girly now.
Because it probably is. It sounds girly just from the title.
It's about a lad and his 2 sisters moving to a cottage in the woods by a big woods, should I say? The 100-acre woods they were called. I think no, that's
Winnie the Pooh.
It's the Enchanted Woods. It was called. It's not the 100-acre woods. Jesus. And they come across a massive tree. And when you climb up it, there's all sorts of elvish folk living in it, and a guy called Moonface who has a head that looks like a moon, and a guy called what's his name because no one knows his name. It was ridiculously long. And at the very top was a cloud with a ladder. Well, a ladder actually, and rotating clouds that every day a different cloud would be there, and you go up the ladder through the cloud, bang, in another world. And they'd always go through it, and there'd be like, I don't know, a big dwarf boot sale up there selling all sorts of weird things. They bought an aeroplane, and they flew that, and they landed on a mad school with a lady called Dame Slap. You wouldn't have a headmaster called Dame Slap, would you? Because she sounds a bit mean. But she ran the school and was evil and trapped him there, and they had to get out. And yeah, there's loads of mischievous adventures there. And
Did you not have a TV when you were a kid?
people used to attack the forest all the time, and they'd have to fight off goblins and shit like that. And there's a giant slide from the top of the tree down to the bottom of it.
Games,
And
consoles?
if you stuck your ear to a tree, it spoke to you.
Did you ever go outside?
Yeah, to listen to trees. But no, I remember I was in year 4 at school, and the teacher started reading it to us, and my mum heard and bought me the whole series.
Why was your mum in school?
No, she just heard through the grapevine.
What grapevine? What social network was there built around your year 4 classroom?
Who knows? She's probably been called up for one of the many times I set up a fire alarm or something. That wasn't a fire alarm going up there, just sheerly coincidentally. But no, I think she probably come up for something like that and just saw we were doing that and brought them all for me, so I read them all. One of the first series I ever read, and they were really good.
How old are year 4 kids?
I was about 6, 7.
So these are books for kids with the big letters and pictures.
Well, no,
every
they're
now
in
and
there.
again.
The book I had was a good sort of, 5 inches?
I'd call that 8.
Yeah, but yeah, they're about that thick, 5 inches thick, I'd say. And yeah, they were small words, proper books, probably about, I don't know when Enid Blyton wrote them, so they'd been 50, 60 years old.
I don't know who that is.
Famous 5.
No.
Because I read this.
I know the
read
Fantastic
Famous 5,
Four.
Read Secret 7. Didn't read the Fantastic Four. But yeah, so I was really into her books. Then I read The Hobbit, and that was awesome. Got into that.
Never heard of it.
But yeah, I mean, them sort of books, I was a bit of a geek with all of them.
Oh, that was when you were a bit
Yeah.
of a geek. You've
And
got
then
out of that
my
since.
mum used to read. You read James Patterson?
Mm.
He wrote a load of books about a cop called Alex Cross. There's 2 films.
Was
as
he?
well. Morgan Freeman played him, and I started reading them then. And so for ages, I was reading these cop books for years. And what makes you?
Is that why you tried to get into the police when you were younger?
Yeah, that was, yeah. The Police, the band, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you were a
That was
drummer,
the reason.
weren't you?
Yeah, I was. And for years I read them, but my mates used to mock me because they were all called things like Roses Are Red, and then the sequel was called Violets Are Blue. And they were,
Sounds awful.
They'd all say, why are you reading women's books? And I said, well, they're not women's
Why
books.
were you reading women's books?
He was a forensic psychologist. He was a detective, and he used to solve really heinous crimes. It was
When
good.
you think of forensic psychology now, do you not think of women's TV shows?
I think of
They
my
were.
wife.
They
She's a
were.
forensic psychologist.
Yeah, is she a woman?
Yeah.
Which surprises me, based on your reading material when you were a child.
But he was a man. They're really good books.
They were women's books.
They're not women's books. There was a women's book series that went alongside it called The Women's Murder Club, which I read a couple of, which were
That
women's
doesn't
books.
surprise me.
They had the really... Basically, James Patterson's the laziest book namer in the world because his first... His Alex Cross books are all called When the Wind Blows is one of his books, and Three Blind Mice, Along Came a Spider. So he just basically stole a line out of any old nursery rhyme going. Then he ran out of nursery rhymes, and now he calls them Alex Cross, Cross Country, Crosshairs,
Cross trainer.
yeah, whatever. Crisscross, yeah.
Did he?
Double
Was he in
cross,
Crisscross?
things like that. But his women's murder ones were called First to Die, Second Chance, Third Time Lucky. I think there's 12 times the charm or whatever. Just he comes up with really lazy generic names so that you know his books. But this question was, what is my favourite book, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
I
And all you've done is listed women's and children's books.
none of them would count. They're all a bit childy or feminine or whatever. But I read a book called Warlock by Wilbur Smith, and that...
He's the guy out of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome, and that's probably one of my favourite books ever. But the more I think about it, it's basically the plot of Lion King set in Egypt. So I'm not really sure if it counts, if I really like it as much as I thought. Because every time I say I really like a book, I told my wife the Dark Tower series was the best series I'd ever read. And then she read it and said it was shit, and I read it, and yeah, it's not very good. I've read Game of Thrones at the moment. I've just finished with that and thought that was brilliant. But I'm starting to think, will I look back on that? If I say it's my favourite book ever, will it end up being rubbish when it finishes? So I'm going to go with this Wilbur Smith one called Warlock. It's got a general series. There's one called The Quest, actually, that was even better. So I'll say that one. The Quest by Wilbur Smith.
Interesting.
Long read. That took me,
Too long.
6 minutes.
It won't be in the edit. It'll be down to about 1 minute of... It'll just be you going, girly book, girly book, girly book, child's book, girly book, girly book, child's book.
So what about you then?
I don't really read books very often. I'm not I'm not. Anna's now stood at the door shouting comics at me, and I'm thinking we're going to save comics for another show at some point, probably, because all I really read is comics these days. But when I was younger, I did used to read books. I did all the typical children's stuff.
Like what? If you didn't read Famous Five Secrets